enemy territory this Friday night with a late 8:30 kickoff and an early rivalry game between the Bombers and the Roughriders. No, it's not Labor Day. No, it's not the Banjo Bowl. But these two teams always battle tooth and nail against one another, and we get a July version of the Prairie Rivalry. Really looking forward to that. Let's bring in the man you came to see, Chris Walby, to GameDay Winnipeg here on Bonfire Sports. What's up, Bluto? Lots to get to on GameDay Winnipeg today.
Absolutely, brother. I mean, this is where my real season starts. Anytime we have the Prairie Rivalry, I love it. I know you mentioned the Banjo and Labor Day and all that, but anytime you get to play the two Prairie rivals 3 times in a season, not even counting exhibition. And I was listening to Corey Mace, the Saskatchewan head coach, and he was saying that this is going to be his first experience of how the fans go crazy because of the rivalry in Saskatchewan and the noise that's going to be generated by the 13th man out there in Riderville. So, yeah, I'm looking forward to this. These are the games that I really get jacked about. I wish I could say that I'm always jacked about, the Bombers in Hamilton or Bombers in Montreal, but no, it's a different level when it becomes Bombers in Saskatchewan.
Yeah, it's always something special between these two teams, and you never really know what you're going to get. That's the reality of the Canadian Football League, but in particular, when blue and gold face green and white, whether it's in Winnipeg or in Regina, like it will be Friday, it could be random as far as the outcome is concerned. I always remember that billboard that advertised the Labor Day Classic, and it was 7-1 versus 1-7. And it was like, something's backwards here. And what happened? It was the 1-7. I think it was Saskatchewan Roughriders that ended up pummeling the Winnipeg Blue Bombers in that Labor Day game. So you never really know what you're going to get. What we do know is that the Bombers will make a variety of changes to their roster, and so too will the Saskatchewan Roughriders, including our old friend Jermarcus Hardrick, who is out with a torn quadriceps. We'll get into the details of that and whether we will see him again this year. He's out of the lineup. Who's in for him, and can Winnipeg take advantage of that spot at right tackle? The Bombers will have a change at defensive end, potentially going up against that right tackle, or maybe to give Willie Jefferson a chance to go and get to the quarterback. And when it comes to quarterbacking, of course, the Saskatchewan Roughriders are continuing to roll with Shea Patterson, who is 1-1 as the Roughriders starter this year, Chris. And I guess you could call him 2-1 because he played most of the game that Trevor Harris was injured in about 4 weeks ago. And then we got to talk about the Saskatchewan Roughriders defense against the Blue Bombers offense, because this Riders defense takes the ball away like nobody's business. They're all over the place this year.
Yeah, I think you hit about 11 or 12 great points, DB. Thanks for
I'm trying to tee up the show for everybody.
Of what we're going to be doing. That's good, man. Keeping me on point. But I do agree with you. I mean, Saskatchewan's defense is what's keeping the game, the Saskatchewan Roughriders in the games. They're number 1 in turnovers, 16 in interceptions, 11. I think I read somewhere an article that they're on pace to break the since 50-year record of the most interceptions they ever had. I don't know about their offense, but we'll get into that. But the Bombers, now you talked about Willie Jefferson. I'll just touch on him a little bit. I thought there's no greater compliment than when Calgary lost to the Bombers last week. And Dave Dickinson said, we just got away from blocking Willie. Willie had his way out there.
Yeah.
Willie Jefferson was causing havoc. Do you expect Saskatchewan, knowing that full well, especially with their new right tackle, maybe they're going to double. Maybe they'll chip him with the back a little bit more than they have in the past. I think that if you let Willie, we talked about this, he's been coming on strong again. I think they got to worry about number 5, Willie Jefferson. And it'll be interesting to see, as you mentioned, Jacob Brammer, the guy taking over for our old buddy Jermarcus Hardrick, who, was the highest paid American O-lineman in the league, and deservedly so after the couple of years he's had in Winnipeg. So we wish him the best. He's a great kid. I got to meet him at his son's football game, and just a nice guy all around.
Yeah, just to update people, last week when the Saskatchewan Roughriders were in Vancouver to play the BC Lions, they ended up losing that game. But during the game, Jermarcus Hardrick went down with an injury, was carted off the field. Obviously, an emotional leader here in Winnipeg and is obviously in Saskatchewan as well. A big hit to the team. And reports out of Regina this week that it is a torn quadricep, that being the thigh muscle in his leg, and could need surgery, or I believe he will need surgery to repair that, which leaves his season in jeopardy. He could come back later this year. He may not. So obviously, everybody here in Winnipeg has fond memories and loves the guy they call Yoshi, Jermarcus Hardrick. So wishing him the best. But just to give you guys an update on that. Chris, what do you see in the Blue Bombers? Sorry, go ahead.
Well, I want to hit one more point with Jermarcus, and I think we should always say this too. A lot of guys that get injured go back to where, they don't stay where they're getting rehabbed. He's staying there, and I know that Corey Mays, the head coach of Saskatchewan, loves the fact that the guy is still going to be around his team. He's an inspirational, vocal leader. He's going to be on the sidelines. He's going to be in the locker room. He's going to be in players' ears. That's a huge thing. So even though Jermarcus is not on the field, he will have his presence felt there. So as you say, we wish him the best, and I'm just glad he's hanging around Saskatchewan.
Taking a quick look at the Winnipeg Blue Bombers defense here. Changes include Taiwan Garbett starting at defensive end. This spot opposite Willie Jefferson, of course, has so often been held by Jackson Jeffcoat, who retired from professional football this offseason. Garbett steps in. What's interesting, Chris, is that Taiwan Garbett is not new to Winnipeg, even though the name may be new to Blue Bombers fans. The team is obviously incredibly high on the Virginia Tech NCAA product because he was in training camp in 2023. Last year, was injured, went back home, came back, joined the practice roster late last season, got into a game, kind of that nothing game that Drew Brown started against the Calgary Stampeders. Garbett played in that game, went into his off season, came to training camp, injured in the first preseason game for the Blue Bombers, coincidentally against the Saskatchewan Roughriders. Garbett was. That made him start the season on the 6-game injured list. But for my money, Chris, and kind of what I'm taking away is that Taiwan Garbett at defensive end, this is the guy Winnipeg would have had starting week 1, 2, 3, 4, all the way through had he been healthy. Now he comes off the 6th game, and here he is getting his first CFL start.
Yeah, he's the 5th defensive end to play opposite Willie Jefferson this year.
Crazy,
They've
right?
gone through everybody. That's just crazy. But having said that, I know the Virginia Tech grad, 6'2", 260, says he's got a motor, never stops. Mind you, we hear that all the time. I think everybody has played that spot this year anyway, has all said, I got a motor. I won't stop, and I'll make sure. I remember Ali Fayad, all these other players that were in that spot. But you're right. I do agree with you. I think Taiwan Garbett is the guy they wanted to start, and now it's up to him. The door is open. So, man, if it's up to him whether he can, take advantage of this opportunity and be that standout guy they thought he could be at that opposite defensive end position.
Yeah, the defensive line is going to be critical in both going after that rookie right tackle you mentioned, Chris, in Jacob Brammer on the Roughriders offensive line, and we'll look at the Roughriders offense in just a second. But to round out the Blue Bombers defense, Kyrie Wilson. I mean, can we talk about Kyrie Wilson for a second? The guy is criminally underrated. I think he's the best linebacker the Bombers have right now. That's not slagging on Adam Bighill at all, but Wilson has been the guy who's really been all over making great plays. Bighill still quarterbacking that defense. Tony Jones enters the Bombers game day roster this week, an American linebacker. Interesting move there to maybe give these guys, Ayers as well, an American rookie, give these guys a little bit of depth at linebacker. The back end of the Blue Bombers defense, including Dietrich Nichols, unchanged from last game. And Nichols, of course, coming back a couple games ago. Well, they decided to test him last week, Chris. Dietrich Nichols picked a ball off and took it to the house off the arm of Jake Mayer. You got to like what you see from from the Blue Bombers halfback. He is dangerous. That's why guys don't really throw at him.
Yeah, I agree. I think he's having another quiet year, but that doesn't mean he's not being effective. I think he's very effective. I think they've been throwing more the opposite, going after a little bit more of Evan Holm and Brandon Alexander, who are the two leading tacklers on the Bomber defense. And I don't know if that's a good sign when your DBs are leading the league, in tackles. I think it should be your linebackers. But having said that, they're getting the job done. They've won 2 in a row. I think they're starting to play better. We've predicted 2 great things. 2 weeks ago, we said that Brady was going to have a breakout game. Last week, you said, watch for Zach. Zach's back. And I thought Zach played his best game of the year. I thought he looked very comfortable back there.
Agreed.
Made some great decisions. Yeah, when you look at the stats, he's got 3 touchdowns or whatever, 2 touchdowns and 6 interceptions. But it's not where you start, it's where you finish. So I think that I'm feeling very confident with what the Bombers are going to put together. But I'll tell you what, we haven't talked about it. When we do talk about Sask defense, they are some bloody ball hawks. They go after that ball. They're that good. They might have the best secondary in the CFL right now. I'm not taking anything away from BC, but I think these guys are, like I said earlier in this show, buddy, the only reason I think that they're 4-1 is because of their defense. Turning over the ball in critical times.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. If you looked at the Saskatchewan Roughriders, and I've watched all their games this year, Chris, if you watch them play football and you see how they won their first 4 games, lost last week in BC, they're winning games with their defense. They're winning games by taking the ball away. They're winning games by being responsible with the ball on offense. Shea Patterson has not thrown the lights out. He's been efficient, 65, 70% in his last 2 starts. And he's got 1 touchdown and 1 interception, each of those coming in each of the last 2 games. So had a touchdown game, had an interception game. AJ Ouellette, as I pull up the Saskatchewan Roughriders depth chart here, AJ Ouellette, their big free agent signing at running back from the Toronto Argonauts. It's not like he's been taking the league by storm, but he has been good. It's really some of the receivers in Samuel Emelis, Sean Bain Jr., who missed 1 game due to a family issue, Keenan Schaefer-Baker, Stearns is another one, nice possession receiver. They're just playing responsible, well-rounded football on offense. It is their defense that is winning them football games. And I know there's a lot of players on this defense, Chris, that you are a big, big fan of, including Micah Johnson, Carney returning to the lineup, coming off the injured list, Jameer Thurman at middle linebacker, my favorite player on this defense. No, not our old friend, Marcus Sales. Maybe off the field, Marcus Sales, my favorite player on this Riders defense, but it's Roland Milligan Jr. Not only does he have 9 special teams tackles this year, but he leads the league with 4 interceptions, has a whole bunch of forced fumbles. The guy is all over the field, also leads the league in defensive plays. They've got playmakers on this defense, and they're playing incredibly well right now.
Yeah, 5 pass knockdowns to lead the league as well. But the interesting thing about it is that, when you're looking at this, and then you look at the stat that shows them they're last in a pass defense, giving up almost 350 yards a game. Does that tell me they're a bend, don't break defense? Or they're just taking, like I said earlier, taking advantage of opportunities and stuffing the drives, not allowing the other team to, put points on the board and allowing them to come up with the victories? Because that's almost like an oxymoron stat, right? They got 11 interceptions, but they're giving up the most yards through the air. Kind of throws you off a little bit when you look at those things because they're quite the opposite.
Well, doesn't it remind you of the Blue Bombers defense from a handful of years ago?
Yeah.
Bend, don't
turn
break.
over the ball. Yeah.
Take the ball. Yeah.
We used to say that about Richie Hall's defense all the time, right? They just made sure they'd get opportunities where they took advantage of the opposite team and created a turnover to secure a game or to lead them to victory. And you notice that the turnover thing, as we're talking about it, the last 2 victories the Bombers have won, they've won the turnover battle. It tells you how important that turnover battle is, their DB. They've created 6 turnovers in the last 2 games. So, they're getting the job done at the right time. They're 2-4. This is a team that I think is on the rise now. I think the Bombers are starting to just find their footing. I think their O-line is starting to get better, a little bit more cohesive. The running game, Brady Oliveira, which, back-to-back 100-yard rushing games, and then I was surprised to hear that's his first time in his career.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought he was like naturally getting 100 more than a couple times, but I guess that's a stat. But I mean, I think he's running hard, and that you asked me on previous shows there, DB, why is the run game? And we both said as soon as he gets used to the offensive line, it's not so much the play calling of Buck Pierce, but he's going to find holes and watch them. I thought the O-line played well again, probably their best game of the year. I saw that when the professional rankings, whatever they call it, PFF or whatever it's called, they ranked the Bomber offensive lineman as the top O-line last week out of the series of all the games. So
late in the game, right? They just them and Brady Oliveira, bully ball. They just take over and dominate possession of the football.
And I was surprised too, especially with Calgary's defense. They just were soft, and I thought they'd play a little tougher, but the Bombers dominated, and that's one of the positives to see. Can they have that kind of success against the Riders? Do you know what the Riders only average? They give up 47 yards a game rushing. That's it.
Mm-hmm.
That's crazy. Now, either the teams aren't running the ball on them, or they're just they're just throwing the ball a lot more than we think.
Corey Mace has come into Saskatchewan as their head coach and defensive coordinator, and really took a good defense under Jason Shivers, for my money. A good defense in Saskatchewan. And now Shivers in Edmonton. We'll digress on Edmonton for now with Chris Jones getting fired this week. But Corey Mace has elevated this Roughriders defense. For my money, I think for anybody's money, Friday night is going to come down to Zach Collaros, Brady Oliveira in the O-line, and Ontaria Wilson, who was just an absolute frickin' beast last week at the Madhouse on Matheson. Chris, if you've been living under a rock, I know you haven't, but for those out there who maybe were living under a rock, Ontaria Wilson had 13 catches on 16 targets. 13 catches was second most in franchise history. And he had 201 yards and a touchdown and some highlight reel grabs, including his touchdown. His 12th catch of the night, 12 of 13 of them, was one of the most impressive body control, contortion, locating the ball in the air catches I have ever seen. Ontario Wilson's got some juice, man. Holy.
Well, he's definitely got a little bit of chemistry with Zach Collaros, because when you keep going back, as you say, 16 targets, 13 catches. No, it could have been another one. I know that it was in the back of the end zone, just off the fingertips. He might be, they're all saying, what's going to happen when Kenny Lawler comes back? I mean, obviously, they'll probably start one of them at one receiver and put the other one in the other one, because
I think they'll put Lawler at slot back.
Yeah, and put Drew back there. You're right, back at the wide receiver. But this guy played himself into an incredible starting position, but also a fan favorite. It was funny to read some of the comments about people saying, well, it looks like the next jersey that's going to be going hot at the Bomber store will be Pokey Wilson. So and actually, I want to give one shout out to Matt Dunnigan. I like when he does the games at TSN, and I like when he called him Sticky. He called him Sticky, and I like that too, because, man, he was catching everything, as you say.
Yeah, no, he definitely was. Just want to mention, great to see everybody in the live chat. If you're joining us from Winnipeg Sports Talk, what's going on? Thanks to the boys for sending everybody over. We do this every single week, pregame, postgame, live, every game on Bonfire Sports. Zach Schnitzer will join me Friday night. It'll be late, but we'll be up. The bonfire, it'll be burning, but it's already burning this afternoon as we sit here with the legend and Canadian Football Hall of Famer Chris Walby ahead of Bombers and Riders on Friday night. Bombers 2-4, riding a 2-game win streak. Saskatchewan 4-1, coming off their first loss of the season, where they had to go to a tough place to play in BC against the Lions. Winnipeg has a little bit of momentum now, Chris. Can that be to their advantage?
Absolutely. As they say, when you start to lose, you start to see crack in the armor. You start to see some doubt coming. And when you start to win, it's a great thing. Everybody's happy and slapping everybody on the back. Lots of group hugs in the locker room. That's a lot of joy, but I think they're playing very well. I mean, the last two games, I thought they played, like I said, the first win, and then coming back against Calgary, I thought they played very well. And that was a tight game, 41-37 or whatever it was. Then you're looking at Saskatchewan, who lost 35-20 to BC. And they got a kid down there. What's his name? McInnes? Is that McInnes? I think it's
Justin McInnes, former Saskatchewan Roughrider.
He had what, like 14 catches or something. I mean, it was a receiver's weekend. And, he had some kind of crazy stats too. But the guy that's really lighting it up, obviously, for them is Vernon Adams Jr., which will be interesting because we get to play him in 2 weeks where BC comes here. I think that'll be a great game for fans. But let's digress. We'll stay with Saskatchewan right now because that's what gets my blood boiling, brother.
Yeah. What gets you boiling about the Saskatchewan Roughriders? Going back to your incredible 17-year CFL career. It was 17 years, yeah? Or 16?
Well, 16. Thanks, man.
16. I always give you one extra year.
Man. And you know what? You would have thought it was 32 if you saw me at the golf tournament. I golfed in the Bomber Golf Tournament, and then I golfed at a tournament yesterday. So we had a lot of fun, man. We golfed with the owners of the Mariachi theme room. I guess they own the hotel, the theme thing. So
yeah.
Very, very interesting couple of people. So we had a great time, Donnie and his son.
That's awesome.
It was a windy day. Not that I can blame it, but it was fun because I tell you, I haven't walked that far in a long time. I definitely got my steps in. And then, of course, yesterday I golfed in the Jeffrey's restaurant golf tourney. And that was another great day. So, nice. Yeah, I've had 2 games of golf, my first 2 in 2 years. And I tell you, I woke up this morning and you thought that I just played a game. I was stiffer today than I was after games when I was playing. So I didn't think golf would take it out of you. Thank God for the liquid refreshments on the course because that saved me.
They always do. And you know where you can get outstanding liquid refreshments out on the golf course? Oh, yes. Scotswood Links. And you see that countdown right there? Less than 2 days until the Scott Scramble. Registration goes live this weekend. But if you have not had a chance to get out to Scotswood Links in beautiful Elm Creek, Manitoba, you need to go. And I'm not just saying that. I've been golfing this course for years. It is well worth the 30-minute drive just west of the city. McGilvery in the perimeter, you're going to be there in 25. They have an outstanding course with a Prairie Meadow front 9, a Prairie Forest back 9, challenging. They have put in tons of work over the years, the Sisson family. If you want more information, scotswoodlinks.com. That's Scotswood with 1 T, scotswoodlinks.com/bonfire will get you a great discount on a foursome with power carts. Awesome food, beautiful, big, brand new clubhouse. The food, the drinks, everything is awesome there. And you know what? Hit the live chat right now if you want a free foursome pass with power carts to Scotswood Links. I want to see you in the live chat right now. Be sure to hit the thumbs up and subscribe if you're not already as well. Head over to our Instagram at Bonfire WPG and subscribe there as well. But if you want a foursome pass to Scotswood Links, hit us up right now on the live chat.
You know what, DB? I think I just got a little idea popped in my head.
Okay.
And I think that I'm going to talk to Brendan Rogers and the alumni staff. And we had our golf tournament at Glendale, but maybe it's an opportunity for us to have the Bomber alumni golf course, our tournament, which is well attended, at Scotswood.
Yes.
That looks like a beautiful place to have it. So that'd be a great thing to have happen. Something I'll check into with some of the guys, Jason Zizkovic and Brendan Rogers, all these guys on the board.
Yeah, I'm down with that. CJ Diddick in the live chat. Free golf? Heck yeah. CJ, this is what you do. Text the Bonfire hotline, 816-8477, 816-TIPS, area code 204-816-8477. It's just like texting your mama. Standard rates apply. And text your email address, and then I will send you that free foursome with power carts to Scotswood Links in beautiful Elm Creek, Manitoba. And I'm with Phyllis. We need at least 50 likes. So hit it up, folks. I know we're not streaming to Twitter like we normally do. I think we might be having some issues with Twitter and Facebook. But we are live on Instagram And the reason I put that YouTube logo there with the @Bonfire Sports is that's where you'll find us on YouTube. You'll be able to join the live chat, chop it up with everybody here as well. Marty Kanak, I've never seen you in the live chat before, Marty. Thanks for commenting. Be sure to hit that thumbs up and subscribe if you haven't already. Marty, text the Bonfire hotline, 204-816-8477. Your email address. Send it by text to the hotline, and we'll get you that foursome for Scotswood Links. Big thanks to Scotswood, as always. You say the Riders get your blood boiling, Chris Walby. Through your 16-year illustrious career, you played a lot of rivalry games against the Green Riders. What are the things that still resonate with you today about those trips to Regina?
I just think I love the fans. The fans are right there. They're right behind you. It seemed like they all knew my mother's name because they kept yelling something about my mother to me. So maybe I had family. I don't know. But, the old stuff I tell a lot of people, the fact that, accidentally have no more hot water after the game. It's just ice cold water. You go on the field, just scrape your arms up. And they had AstroTurf, and it was garbage. It was basically like indoor, outdoor carpet. And where it was ripped up under the concrete, they just spray painted it green. So, yeah, it was different.
Really?
Yeah. And then, I have other memories that are not as good. In fact, that my brother, in arms, and Danny Huckluck playing there, and, fractured his leg in about five or six places. And I've been dealing with that leg issue ever since. But, yeah, a great place to play. I've always loved the rivalry. It's always tough to play there. I know that we got spanked a lot of times over there, and deservedly so. They just always seem to have a great game against us, and I don't expect this to be any different tomorrow. I really think it's going to be a great game. It's going to be and I say this every week when it sounds like rhetoric, but it's not. This is where I'm going to watch the pit again. I watch the pit all the time. Yeah, we had great catches by Pokey Wilson. A lot of guys caught the ball very nice. Brady ran the ball, but I want to see the holes. I want to see the guys blocking it. I want to see Willie against this new guy, the Brammer. But I also want to see what Carney does against us because they liked him, and Anthony Lanier, not a good defensive end. So both their ends so get after the quarterback. And you mentioned one of their guys. There's the two ends, and there's the old familiar right there. You're right, Micah Johnson, he's still got 3 sacks, 9 tackles, 3 sacks. So he's still getting pressure up the middle. So it's going to be a battle tomorrow, and it'll be a hot one, I believe, in Saskatchewan. If we usually get weather that they have, so it'll be crazy.
Yeah. You got, of course, the 2 Winnipeg-born Herdman Reed brothers backing up Jameer Thurman, another big free agent signing from the Toronto Argonauts this offseason. Jameer Thurman, look, when you got Malik Carney, former Ticat, Micah Johnson, former Ticat, you got, first name's escaping me, you got Brown, you got Anthony Lanier, the second.
Miles Brown.
Pardon me?
Miles Brown, yeah.
Miles Brown. Thank you.
Yeah, no problem.
When you got talent like that in your front four, and then it's all tied together with someone like Jameer Thurman, that's why teams are having trouble running against the Saskatchewan Roughriders. They are filling gaps. They are not making it easy. Chris, as an offensive lineman, when you got a thoroughbred, a horse, as you like to call him, you got a thoroughbred running back, and you're going against a team with a very, very strong defensive front. What are the types of things you want to ensure as an offense you're doing to find success?
I think you find success by just not giving up. It's like anything. I mean, they can stuff us 5 in a row, but if you don't run that 6, you never know what's going to happen. So you got to keep going. You got to keep with the game plan. Don't abandon it. Winnipeg, you know what? Listen, they've got only I think 3 touchdown passes the whole year. They're last in passing yardage. I think the Bombers are, as I said this since our first show, when a team is two-dimensional, that means they can both run and pass the ball. Your chances of success and winning that game are exponentially higher than if you just become one-dimensional. And I think as good as Zach is, and as good as some of the receivers are playing, I think if they can't get the run game going, it could make for a long night for the Bombers.
Yeah. Very interesting comment when we're talking about the Blue Bombers offense from Rob Somerville. Rob says, why isn't Lucky Whitehead active for this game. This is the second game since Whitehead joined the team that he remains on the practice roster. Rob continues to ask, are the Bombers just going to let him sit on the practice squad only to inevitably end up releasing him? I certainly hope not. In short, go ahead, Chris. Yeah.
No, I was going to say, you know what, DB, that's a great point, because when you get some of these guys coming back off the sixth game, they can't keep everybody. So players will be released.
Yeah.
And, there's some opportunities for these young kids. We haven't even talked about Kody Case yet. But, I just think when I'm looking at him, you almost wonder why you don't dress Lucky and just make him a returner. He used to be a returner for Dallas Cowboys. Yeah, he's 32. But he's still got the Jets, man. And that flaming red hair coming out of the back of his helmet. So,
yeah,
he's like the streak. I just like to see him go, man. But, it's a great question by him. But I guess they really want to see this Kody Case kid, University of Illinois, and see what he can bring to the return game, because the Bombers really are poor. We're last in the league in punt return average, and we're second last in the league on kickoff return average. And we all know that the game of football is such a game of field position, and you want to get something to, basically give you a better field position by getting a decent return, and we haven't had that yet. So that's why the returners we keep getting new guys. We've had Myron Mitchell. And then we had last Chris Smith. Now we got Kody Case. So hopefully somebody takes this and runs with the ball. And I hate using that little line, but that's what you're hoping they can do.
Yeah,
and find some success. Yeah, there you go, buddy.
Kody Case was injured in training camp in 2024. And the team technically released him, but we still saw him around the facility. The team even admitted that he was rehabbing with the team. They like Kody Case. They like what he brings. He is, a small, shifty type of slot back type of player, and clearly has some returning chops. While Winnipeg's return game had been a little bit better, moving from Myron Mitchell to Chris Smith, and everybody remembers Chris Smith for the 109-yard punt return touchdown he had in the second preseason game at home. But clearly they want to see what Case has. For Lucky Whitehead to just be plunked on the roster, I think they probably could do that, but I think it's also smart to assess the talent that you have. You probably know more about Lucky Whitehead than you do about a rookie in Kody Case. So put him in there, see if he's got some juice, see if he can provide a little extra, firepower to the return game. And again, a receiver who can maybe help this thin, injury depleted receiving core, which leads to the next question, Chris. When Lucky is ready to go, and hey, it just takes some time sometimes. Michael Shea has said that. It can take 3-4 weeks for a guy to get acclimated, maybe get into game shape. There's a lot of factors at play. But we're looking at, I'm just looking at the schedule here off screen. We're looking at August 18th, the Blue Bombers' first game following their Week 10 bye. We're in Week 7, so another 3 or 4 weeks would get us to Week 11. And that is when Mike O'Shea has said that Kenny Lawler could be ready to return from that broken arm. So when Lawler returns, when Lucky Whitehead is ready to go, they need to make some decisions as far as who is in and who is out. Yeah. Ontaria Wilson was a Week 1 starter out of training camp and the beginning of the regular season. We saw why with his huge breakout performance last week. Drew Wolodarski has moved to slot back from his normal wide side receiver spot since the injury to Shone and to the injury to Shone as well. Kevin Clercius, the Canadian rookie, has stepped in there. Josh Johnson, another American rookie who has stepped in. And here's Kody Case backing up Nick Dembski at slot back. So if you had to remove two of these guys, I think one would be Kevin Clercius. The Bombers' ratio is outstanding right now, as far as they've got way more than enough Canadians in starting positions. You put Drew Wolodarski back to his normal Z receiver spot on the wide side of the field. And then you got to make a decision between Josh Johnson and Wilson, especially when especially when not Lucky Whitehead, but when Kenny Lawler is back.
See, I'm a little nervous. So I was going to throw something else in there as well on that question about Lucky Whitehead. And I kind of jumped the gun by saying, yeah, he could return punts. He used to do that in Dallas, but that was way back when he was a young man.
That was way back.
Now you bring him back in. He takes a couple of hits and he gets hurt again. Now you're on the hook for a salary again, whatever that might be. So I think it's a good thing to keep him on the shelf as long as you can until you really need to see, okay, do we really need Lucky? Because when Kenny comes back, I think Kenny will come back. I think the guy that's going to get out of there will probably be Josh Johnson. That's just my feeling. I mean, I understand. I know that Kevin Claricius will be there too, but you're not going to get it. You said it's going to be between Johnson and Wilson. There's no way they're taking Ontario Wilson out now. Not after that game he's had. Now, is he a one-game wonder? I don't think so. But we'll find out.
I don't think so either. He was a week 1 starter, right? They like him.
Well, I know.
We saw why.
But he stays healthy. He's young. He's got a great hands, strong hands. I listen to some of the comments here as I read them, and thank you for the comments. It's great. And our old friend Craig Smith said the same thing. He goes up, finds the ball, but he's got incredibly strong hands to bring that back. He also said it's going to be 31 plus 31 and humid in Saskatchewan. That is another thing. These boys better make sure they're hydrated with water today, because nothing like getting cramps and you got to leave the game and you can pull things. We've seen guys, Kody Fajardo pulling a hamstring in Montreal now. Just crazy, man.
Yeah. And hamstrings can keep you out a while. The weather tomorrow, as you mentioned, Chris, is going to be real hot. As Crispy Galactic eloquently puts it, hot as Hades. I like that. And, I don't think it'll come into play too much. There's a chance of thunders. Anytime it's hot like that in the prairies in July, of course, chance of thunderstorms and that sort of thing. But I don't think the heat, often people will come and be like, how are they going to handle playing in the heat? You understand most of these dudes are from Florida, Texas, Louisiana, Arizona, California, Georgia. Like, I don't think that's going to be an issue at all. Even the ones that are from the northern United States, they played at schools that are in the South.
No, there's no doubt about it, but the heat is different when it's humid. Hot is one thing, humid's another. I mean, you'll come off, you know what, when you're in warm up and you're tired in warm up. I mean, we used to, especially we're out east where, by Hamilton, and you're right by the lakes. And I tell you what, by the end of stretch period, before we start the game, I'm like, oh my God, we haven't even played a quarter yet. And I am lost probably 7-8 pounds just in pregame warmups.
Yeah.
Because it's that bloody hot. So yeah. Are they used to it? Probably. Can they play in it? Absolutely. Do I like it? No, I like it. Big men like us, we like the little cooler weather, nice little breeze coming through that helmet. That's what we like.
Yeah.
Not that we're fat.
Look good, feel good, play good, pay good, and pay good, live good, as the great Deion Sanders.
Look at you with your mantras. Your mantras today are just flying off today.
Look good, feel good, play good, pay good. Got to get that money right, as they say.
Yeah.
And if you need to get your body right, well, there's no better place to go than the city's premier proactive healthcare facility, Pure Winnipeg, advancing healthcare excellence with everything they do. They've got a brand new walk-in clinic for minor injuries, strains, sprains, breaks. You got a deep cut, you need stitches. So they got in-house stitches, x-ray, casting. They'll get you back to enjoying summer in no time. And a big tenet of Pure, a big value of theirs is exercise as medicine. Cool. Outstanding gym facilities there. They have got physiotherapists, kinesiologists, medical doctors, all types of different professional trainers. And Chris, one of the best things about Pure is when you go in there, it's just, well, I say people like me and you, not everybody in the world is built like you, but it's just regular people in these facilities. You wouldn't know it from a gym from, the grocery store. So very unintimidating. I really encourage you to check them out. You can give them a call at 338-PURE and find them online, purewinnipeg.com. They're at 1129 Empress Street, just north of Polo Park. And they'll get you right for the summer.
Yeah, I think that's a great point that you make, because some people got that they're a little inhibited about going to a gym because they feel like everyone's going to watch them, gawk at them. They get uncomfortable. When you get a place like that, it makes you comfortable. You don't care. You're just going in there. They're there to help you. They got people making sure you're doing stuff right. And that's the best thing about a gym. And once you start going, you will never stop, because it just gets in your blood and you start feeling guilty about missing a day of working out. And again, the same thing is they take care of your injuries as well as that. You saw the stuff they got. So, yeah, I would also encourage anybody to, if you want to look at a place like that, and you can thank DB later.
Yes, you can. Yeah. I mean, I was there today. I was there last week. Just outstanding people as well. purewinnipeg.com for really any of your health needs. You'll be incredibly impressed. Chris, that leads us obviously to our keys to the game, or more specifically, your keys to the game. It's a big reason why people come here to Bonfire Sports and Game Day Winnipeg, to get the legends critical points that will lead the Blue Bombers to potentially a third straight victory and getting that much closer to 500 football here in the early going.
Yeah, I think that's great. And I know, DB, you always join in with some of these tips, and they're right on as well. I mean, when I look at the game and I go back and watch the previous games, the previous couple, I think it still smacks of importance that the Bombers offensively get out of the gate early. One, it's time to get some touchdowns, not live off field goals. But two, and more importantly, take the Saskatchewan crowd out of the game. It's going to be louder. I mean, it's going to be loud there. And it's, as anybody's ever played in a loud environment, it usually accounts for a couple procedure calls on that offense where you can't hear the snap count, and guys inadvertently jump off side. So offensively, I think they got to really do something, put some points on the board, take the crowd out, quiet them down. Defense, you got to stuff the run. You mentioned something about A.J. Ouellette. They paid him a lot of money. They like him, Thor, as they call him, with the hammer, averaging just 3.8 yards, but tough runner. And you give him an inch, he's going to take a mile, and he might have a breakout game. It's only averaging, like I say, 3.9 yards carry, but they also got to create turnovers and get after Shea Patterson. He's a big stalk of corn. I mean, he's tall, lanky, hasn't taken off too much. I think he's only ran like 12 for 36 yards. But you don't want to make him do that. You want to keep him in the pocket. And I think the defense can have a great day, especially if they keep continuing to create turnovers. Yeah. And last but not least, buddy, on special teams, you got to muzzle Mario. And I'm not talking about, I'm not talking
Luigi's
about Luigi's
brother.
Luigi's, thank you. I was searching for his name. But I mean, you got to watch
Princess
Mario.
Peach's boyfriend.
Mario Alford is a game breaker, and he can break one anytime. So it'll be great. And then obviously on our side, let's see what Kody Case can do. Maybe he's the answer in a return game. So those are my keys, buddy. I think it's going to be fun to watch. I'm looking forward to the game. This is one game. Some games I can record and I come back and watch them. Mm-hmm. But this is one I sit down. I got a cold beer with a cold drink, mostly beer though. Yeah, and I watch the game and I enjoy it. I might as well not lie about it. Yeah, and I enjoy it. I enjoy a good tough matchup, buddy.
Yeah. Tico Napoli, damn business calls and miss half the show. That's the best part. Is this show available on demand, available via podcast. We are live the day before the game at 3:00, pregame every game, postgame every game, just moments after the final gun goes. Bonfire Sports will fire up live on YouTube and Facebook. You can find us on Instagram and Twitter, all of our social handles at Bonfire WPG, and you can find everything you need, including some interviews with a whole variety of Bombers players and coaches, and even some Jet stuff still to come on bonfiresports.ca. Big thanks to all of you out there for watching. Big thanks to purewinnipeg.com, scotswoodlinks.com. Great, outstanding support we get from our very cherished sponsors. Support us by supporting them. And Chris, thank you for your time and your outstanding insight as always here on Game Day Winnipeg. Have a great weekend. I sure hope you enjoy this one with a cold beer.
And I want to, yeah, I will. I'm definitely going to have one. But I'll tell you what, I want a big shout out at the Bomber alumni. It's so great to see some of the guys you haven't seen, before for a long time, like Joe Poplowski, Danny Huckluck, who I mentioned earlier in our show. But Jeep Willie, just about to turn 93 years old. He's at the tourney.
Who's
now,
that?
Jeep, if you know, was our old Labatt rep who used to take care of us.
Jeep
and that
Willie.
was the one time when we had to do some stupid stuff, and I'll leave you to the story, stupid stuff where we had to sign out for a beer. But if you wanted us to have a beer, you had to forego one of your pops because you could only get two, either 2 pops, 2 beers, and that was it. And we're like, I phoned Jeep, and I personally phoned him. I go, hey, Jeep, what's going on with this, man? He goes, what are you talking about, Walls? I gave you 10, 20 cases of beer. We go out next day, there's all the coaches stealing the beer, taking it to their cabin. So I'm going to tell you right now, that was not a good thing. Yeah, but Jeep Willie was so good to see him. He's about to turn 93, so I know it's not for a week or so, but happy birthday to Jeep, and it was great to see him at the
His name is Jeep Willie.
Jeep Willie, yeah.
Wow. Because isn't there like a Willie's Jeep or something like that?
No, I don't know. And maybe that's just, I only know him as Jeep. It must be his name, Jeep.
That goes back to the days, Chris, because I know it from my family business and generations before me of the Baumings. Beer reps used to just give away boxes and boxes of beer, drop a keg off at the slow pitch tournament, bring, as many 2-4s as you could tuck under your chin, and haul them into the house. It was crazy how much beer they would give away. Those days are long gone, unfortunately.
Oh, yeah. Well, you know what? I'll finish with this other one. Tim McGavick was a good friend of mine. I grew up with him. And he used to work at Labatt's. And they would give him a token with every paycheck. And it was for a 24 beer. And he took me up to the breweries. It was, I used to be on, downtown, not downtown, by the airport there. The old Labatt Brewery.
Yes.
I believe Notre Dame. Yeah, whatever it was, Notre Dame Ellis. I used to go up there. And I've never seen this before. Guys are working, but they're all having their lunch breaks. They're all drinking beer. I'm thinking, man, how do I get a job here? And I really wanted to get a job there. Thank God I didn't, though, because probably wouldn't have been. I'd still be in there at the bottom.
You wouldn't go home.
No, but it was crazy, man. Just ice cold beer. And as you said, they took care of you. Even Carling's, it was on Redwood Bridge here. Carling's used to have these nights for us. And it's just a different world now. And it's a smarter world. With all the with all the new rules about driving and intoxication and shit,
it's
so it's smart.
Yeah,
it's a safer world, a smarter world.
But you can still have fun. You just got to do it the right way, right?
Just get a DD or take a cab or take a Uber. We used to be taking Uber, and I've taken an Uber from the hospital about 3 times now. Great service. You can tell I want a big car. They brought a wagon with a horse to pull me. It was not very pretty, but they wanted to load me in like a bag of cabbage.
Well, you know what?
Anyway, that's enough story time. I have to go get a cold one.
Yeah, no, we'll let you get a cold one. I just wanted to say, so many people I talk to make Bonfire and Game Day Winnipeg and Game Day After Dark part of their football tradition week to week. They're out, they're having some cold ones, they're enjoying the weather, they're enjoying the show, they're enjoying your stories, Chris. They're enjoying the community. So thanks to everybody once again for supporting. Have a great weekend, Bluto. Love you, brother.
Too, Big DB. Have fun. I love you too, brother. I love everybody out there. Stay safe, have fun, stay hydrated, and for God's sakes, have a cold drink because it's going to be a beautiful weekend. You got her.